Good evening, Dave.
I'm in.
All right. Everyone is ready. I will begin with our meeting language. All right. Good evening, everyone. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Easthampton Board of Public Works will be conducted via remote participation. Michelle, can we have a roll call attendance?
Yep. Chair Thomas Mulsberry.
Present.
Austin Sanders.
Present.
David Fagnan.
Present.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to open the Board of Public Works meeting for November 4th, 2020 at 5:04 p.m. via remote participation.
Second the motion to open the meeting.
Thomas Mulsberry.
Yes.
Austin Sanders.
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving to the first item on our agenda, we have public speak. If any of our participants would like to speak on a matter not currently on the agenda, now is your time to do so. You may feel free to unmute yourself and speak to the board. Okay, it appears we have no public comment this evening. Moving on to item number 2 is our standing item for mayor speak. I don't believe the mayor will be joining us this evening. So we'll move right to item number 3, approval of the October 21st, 2020 meeting minutes. Did all board members have a chance to review what Michelle sent out?
Yes.
All right, any issues with the minutes as received?
Not by me.
No issues.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes as received.
Second the motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
Thomas Mulsberry.
Yes.
Austin Sanders.
Yes.
David Fagnan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item number 4 on our agenda is a request for a partial water sewer bill abatement for 103 Maple Street for the last billing quarter. I forwarded out some information on that. Is any of the members of our public here to represent themselves for the abatement? Okay, Greg, do you want to give a quick review of the request you received and forwarded to the board?
Yeah, the resident at 103 Maple Street allowed the contractor working on the CDBG project over there to use her hose one day, and apparently their staff left it on throughout the day by mistake, and she received a bill that was a little bit higher than she normally receives, so was looking for some relief on that from the city.
Okay. So Greg had Lori pull their usage statistics. Let me see. So these are share. This is what I put together. You can all see the 103 Maple spreadsheet I have up.
Yep.
Okay. So you can see their usage for the past 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2019, was 6,600 cubic feet, 5,400 cubic feet, 6,640 cubic feet. This billing cycle was actually 6,695. So it's not really that much higher considering the increase we've seen, but I understand she did allow a contractor to use the hose. It was left on. So their average usage for this quarter over the previous 3 years was 6213, which is a usage of approximately 482 cubic feet over their previous 3-year average. Worked out with our current 2020 rate, that would be an abatement of 6864. This excess 482 is equivalent to 3,600 gallons of water. So I feel like that is in line with the incident that happened. So I know Greg had originally in his response worked up a similar calculation, but it was just based on price.
Yes, yeah.
Which did not account for each 2017, 2018, and 2019 had rate increases, which would increase the bill. And then, as we know, in 2020, we had a 8% rate increase. So I feel that using historic cubic footage usage is a more accurate representation. So I wanted to present this alternate abatement to the board for consideration. As you can see, most of the years it's 6,600. So, I feel like this is fair given what happened. I want the board to realize we did use their hose and water was wasted. So I feel some abatement is in order. So any discussion from the board?
So I was not aware of this, but I am acquaintances with the party, Barbara and John Nalowonsky. So I don't believe I think I should recuse myself.
That is fine.
Okay.
I can decide the matter, and I thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right, Austin, do you have any comment?
No, looking over the calculation you've done, I think that appears to be sound in the calculation you're presenting.
Yeah, I feel as though some abatement is in order, but this was the fairest way I could think to determine what that would be. So
I think that's fair.
Greg, do you have any input on this? I know I sort of circumvented your price calculation.
No, but the way you did it is more accurate. I should have done it that way, and in the future, that's how I'll do them.
Okay, yeah, just because of the price inflation, this with a $68, I forget what the bill was. I think it was $573.
Yeah.
This reduction of the 68, 64 actually brings it pretty close to what they paid last quarter. I think it was $520 something.
Yep.
So this would be in line with their 2019 bill, and we have some backup to justify it, I feel.
The only thing I would add is that a lot of work did happen in front of their house throughout that project, and they were very accommodating. And it was makes it easier for us when people are accommodating.
Yeah, and I feel this takes into account, a hose running overnight and
Yep.
usage for a day. I can't imagine it would be more than 3,600 gallons. All right, Austin, I'll propose that Lori prepare an abatement for 482 cubic feet of water.
I second that proposal for the abatement.
Okay, Michelle, can we have a roll call vote?
Thomas Mulsberry,
Yes.
Austin Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, let's move on to our next item. Item number 5 on the agenda. Williston Northampton Schools proposal for a raised speed table and pedestrian crossing at the Park Street Athletic Center. All right, do we have any participants from Williston with us this evening? All right.
Yes, Chuck McCullough, I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
Okay. Good evening.
Good. And I have Brian Wing with me, who's the Physical Plant Director, and I have Jeff Tannett with me, who's in charge of projects and planning at the school. So I guess I had a chance to talk to Greg today, and he helped clarify a couple things on the letter that was sent to us. We've gone out and looked at the site, and through our evaluation, we've actually made some alterations and changes to the location of where the table is. If you wouldn't mind, if I could project a picture, it would probably be easier for me to explain if I can do that. If we can share, if I can just take the sharing of the screen for a second.
Yeah, I think we by default have participant sharing disabled, but let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to turn on all participants and hopefully nobody bombs us, but.
Okay. Let me see if I can share.
All right, see if that gave you access to share screen.
Yep, I think it worked. Share. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Great. So the original plan was to do, and I think this is particularly from a suggestion that Greg made to me today on the phone, and I think as I was starting to think about it, it's actually a really good one. First, the tabletop that we were talking about was going to be low. This is not a great drawing, but hopefully it'll give you some sense. I can probably make this a bit bigger too, if that's helpful. Yeah, let's do that. So this is the athletic center and this is Park Street with this going out south towards Southampton and this going towards the center of town. And this being Brewster Avenue and this being Greenwood Court. Originally, the tabletop was going to be further down away from the front of the athletic center here and was not going to be part of a crosswalk. It was just going to be a tabletop. I think what Greg had mentioned to me, and I think it makes enormous sense, is why don't we make the tabletop one of the crosswalks? And so I went back and I talked to Brian and Jeff today. And what we've done is and I'll see if I can move this to the next page. This is the next page. What we've done is we've actually moved the tabletop back to what will be coming right out of the front of the athletic center to be a crosswalk right across the street. Presently, this is a dormitory that originally we weren't planning on using this year, but due to COVID, we left open and it's still functioning as a dormitory. Eventually, though, that is not going to be there. And this is really going to become, at some point in the future, we'll be talking to you folks about it, but we'll probably be putting parking here. And with that crosswalk and tabletop will be very important because people will be crossing the street and coming right to the athletic center. So in planning for that, but also having the tabletop in place to be able to start to get some of the traffic softening that we're all trying to accomplish on Park Street, we felt that moving it down to this location made sense. Now, back on the other page for a second, under the original plan and what was the letter was based was to say, I think there was a suggestion to say, if there were two items that said if it was agreeable to us, I think the first item was that if there was any damage to the tabletop, that it was on us to deal with that. I needed some clarification on it because I originally read it that if a snowplow got repaired, we'd have to repair the snowplow. And I was like, well, I don't know about that, but Greg clarified for me that if there was damage to the tabletop itself, we would have to repair that. Absolutely, we have no issue with that whatsoever. That makes enormous sense. So we would be responsible for that. The second part was the 850 feet of roadway, which I've highlighted here in both blue and pink. And that's where I talked to Greg and I said, that seems a bit much. And the other concern I had was that there are a couple of structures here that look like they're going to need more work than would be involved with doing just, the grinding down and replacing an 1.5 inches of macadam. But so as an alternative, as we started to look to this project, the other thing I would mention is this area marked in blue is the area where we did dig into the road this past year to do some of the drainage repairs that we were doing. And Jeff Cannon did oversee that, and it's definitely on us. That roadway needs to be redone and we have no issue with that whatsoever. So if that can be incorporated into this, absolutely, that needs to be redone. And that's what I've marked in blue, is that's the area that needs to be redone. But what I'm going to suggest is that, what I would like to suggest is that if we move the tabletop back, the scope and the area of work is really not going to be as extensive. It's going to be down. We're going to move back quite a bit on the athletic center, and we'll put the tabletop right here. And if it means that, the replacement of road work would be from Brewster Avenue, as it should be appropriately, all the way down to the tabletop, maybe extending just a little bit beyond the tabletop, just to make sure that the break is done well. That seemed to make more sense. I honestly think there's more work to be done here than just stripping the road and cleaning it up. And I wouldn't want to take that on. But we're perfectly willing to do the road repair from obviously in front of Brewster Avenue and definitely down to the tabletop, this area, and do the road replacement. That makes perfect sense to me. So if this is agreeable, what I'm saying is we probably have to continue this as far as your committee is concerned. And we also want to get Mark Reed from Heritage Surveys in to look at this again and make sure that any drainage or any other things that need to be considered are done and done appropriately. So as a scope of work, I would say this would be more in line, and maybe a letter from the DPW if the committee's in agreement. This scope of work seems very doable and manageable. When we start getting into, this work, this starts to become, more involved, more costly, and, it is, kind of out of the range of a scope of work that we think that, we're going to be engaged in. So, and I'll leave it there for questions.
All right, thank you very much for that presentation. Yeah, I think the board was looking to see if the tabletop and crosswalk could be combined. It seemed to provide more safety to us, and also they're going to be, I don't know if Greg mentioned, but the other first place these are going to be going in the city is on Union Street, which are going to be raised pedestrian Crest crosswalks. So I would like to see some consistency if we're going to introduce a new feature to the city, that there's some consistency between projects moving forward. So having, raised pedestrian crosswalks in one place and tabletops in another, was something we were trying to avoid. So I'm glad that's agreeable.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that suggestion from Greg to us was great. And yeah, we're in agreement to it. I'd want to see it be consistent with what's in the city as well.
All right. Austin or Dave, do you have any questions?
No questions. I do. Well, we had some concerns last 2 weeks ago. I do like, Chuck, I do like the repositioning. That makes more sense, it seems to me. Yeah. Whether they're going to be raised or what we're talking about, that's something that I think the board will have to discuss in the future, Tom. Okay? Because this isn't exactly the downtown like the other place.
Right.
But, that's just some details that I'd like to discuss.
I agree. The specifications for it may be different based on the speed of the travel lanes and stuff based on the ones in Union, but consistency of concept and design was sort of what I was hoping for that.
Yeah, but Park Street is not Union Street, so.
I agree.
Yeah, so.
And I think my only other concern was, I think Heritage had probably placed the tabletop where it was based on drainage structures, so. Right. They will probably have to take that into consideration with the revised proposal. So it'll be interesting to see what Heritage says.
Yeah, and we did look at that today, and there is, and we've mentioned it in concept to Mark Reed already, and he said that, yes, we're going to look at that on Friday, but there is a solution for it. Effectively, I couldn't put it on the drawing, but maybe just make this a little bit larger. On this side of the tabletop, and in this side of the tabletop on both sides, you'd want to be able to catch some water that's coming here. And there is already a basin here and a basin here, as well as one down here. And there's piping that's running under this. And so really it's going to be just simply duplicating these structures in style and in design and tying into the line. So we want
Understood.
yeah, so it looks like it's a very doable project. And I guess to Dave's concern about, the not being necessarily downtown, the one thing, we've had a chance to talk with, and this is going back a while ago now, but I certainly talked to Bob Alberti about it. And he was very, he had thought that this was going to be a very positive step for at least the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that is on Park Street right now. Having traffic abide by it has been very, very difficult for the police and frankly, the safety of the school. And we're thinking that some traffic softening measures that mimic what is already being incorporated in the city was the reason for the concept, Dave. So
Okay.
I think, but the key here is the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is, we have data after data after data that it's just not being abided by. So any steps we can take in that regard, and I'm not saying this now just from being somebody from Williston, but that's just someone being from the city.
Yeah.
I think we want to take those steps if we can.
The key is safety, without a doubt.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
All right. So, Greg, I'm going to ask you somewhat of a procedural issue. What is it exactly that you're requesting the board to vote on? Are we just voting on the principle that we are agreeable to this pending future design, or do we have to give them access to the right-of-way of the road by a certain decree?
I don't think at this point we need to vote on anything until we have an updated plan from Williston as to what exactly they want to
All
put in.
right, so we're just going to give them, the good faith of the board to proceed with their planning?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'd certainly want to come back and coordinate with everyone regarding, when the roadway needs to be done. And there's going to be a lot of coordination with Greg and all. So I think it would be appropriate for us to come, once we have the design from Mark, maybe come back to the board at that time. We'll have a little bit idea better of the scope of work here on the roadway. And, I think just to touch base again would be wise.
Okay.
Is it possible for some of us to have an on-site visit at some point with, once you come up with your ideas, so we can
Sure.
not just Zoom our way through this thing?
Hey, Dave, you have an open invitation to be on our.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, please. No, we'd welcome having and walking through. I mean, I just in the quick call I had with Greg today, I got a couple of really good ideas that we were able to incorporate pretty quickly. So
I'm a little more hands-on than Zoom all the time. So
yeah, we definitely welcome it. As soon as we get the designs from Mark, what we would do is probably get them to Greg and then see if we can schedule a time when the committee would like to come out and walk it.
Yeah, we can either, due to us being a small committee, we can either do it individually, which I know isn't efficient, or we can schedule it as a site walk with no discussion. It can just be informational only,
Yep.
recon, and then
I
we come back
understand.
to a meeting and have a public discussion about it, but we can't side of the road spitball ideas. So just.
and I'm in town too, Tom. So Greg and I could go out without you other
Correct.
two guys. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then I could report back if that works
Yep,
for
that-
everybody. Okay.
That works. We could all individually do it, or we could send you as our recon. So
Mhm.
that works for us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd like to see the difference on the ground between the first image and the second updated
Yep,
new scope here.
definitely. And Brian and Jeff, did I miss anything? I just, we met together today. I just want to make sure I touched on all the key items.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I got echo here.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yikes. Brian.
Brian, I think we're going to have to hold off on your audio. So, yeah, Jeff, did I get everything?
Yeah, I believe so. That's pretty much it. Once we have the redesign, look and see what's involved and certainly present that and make sure it's agreeable. And if there's other good suggestions, open to those as well.
Okay,
Wonderful.
excellent.
No,
Excellent.
thank you for proposing this. I think it'll be a good safety feature in the city. So
Great. Appreciate it, everyone.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, everyone.
good time.
Hope you're all well.
All right. Well, thank you all for that discussion. Item number 6 is our director's report.
Okay.
You had a quiet 2 weeks, I ask, knowing otherwise.
Wonder what that's like. So we did stagger our crews back out just due to the rising COVID numbers. So I've got basically half the staff working that we should have on any given day. So we are doing what we can to get everything done and get ready for winter. The highway's been trying to get some patching and trench paving done. Done the first half of this week. They'll be doing some sweeping the next couple days when the crew swaps out. So things are moving along. It's just not as efficient as I'd like it to be if we had everyone here. So I did want to tell the board Ferry Street is close to opening. I'll have a better idea on the date on Friday, so I don't want to give any dates at this point, but it's getting very close. So the weather's finally cooperating a little here, and we're working on the thermoplastic traffic markings and crosswalks, and they're moving right along, planning to work over there actually through the weekend doing the traffic markings. So hopefully we'll have a good date in mind by Friday that we can say that Ferry Street will be back open. During our work on Mountain Road, we discovered an outfall pipe that has failed right at the edge of it's called a bin wall that actually holds up part of the embankment there. And we need to get that fixed as soon as possible. I'm working on getting the outfall pipe slip lined, and I've got a good proposal to get that done. I'm waiting for a detail on the best practice for the slope restoration. I've got Wright Pierce is taking a look at that for us, and hoping to have some more information on that within the next couple days than just sending documents back and forth from the construction of that bin wall back in the early 90s. We need to get that repair done before winter really sets in, and I'm hoping that'll mean it's closing Mountain Road for a couple days again, probably towards the end of this month if I can get everything to come together. But it's we need to do it before it gets worse over the winter, at least, even if it's just a Band-Aid to get us through till next season. So you can expect another Mountain Road closure to come within the next few weeks. And
Greg, would that be a continuous closure or a similar like 10 to 2, or you'd want a full work day to get as much done?
I'd probably go for a full work day, like a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. I mean, it's nice to leave the road open to get people out of town, but to do this work is going to require removing sections of guardrail.
Okay. Well, that's what I guess I was asking. Do you expect any, will it be out of service overnight, or do you have it buttoned up enough each evening? Or
I think we'll be able to button it up enough each evening to do it. It's going to be I'd probably try to do it like a 9 to 4, maybe both days. That way we have that couple extra hours each day. But I understand it was more just a question of if you were taking out road section, that it would be out of commission for 72 hours straight, or I mean, ideally we can do this without touching any blacktop. It's the guardrail removal that'll take some time, because we'll need to take down the beams themselves plus the supports, and then set a machine there on the edge of the embankment, and it's going to be an undertaking, but we'll be able to do the bulk of it, I think, with our own staff. So
okay, good luck.
And one other thing, we are planning to remove the delineators on Williston Avenue for the bike lane delineators. We're going to be doing that towards the end of next week for the winter. The future of that bike lane will be discussed over the coming months, I suppose. So, and the Center and South Street paving, we got all the contracts and paperwork signed for that to proceed, and that should happen. I'm hoping that happens within the next few weeks also. I'm waiting for a more concrete date for that to start. So. And that's pretty much all I've got.
All right, well, thank you for that report. Does any board member have any other questions for Greg or anything you'd like to propose for our next meeting?
Good.
I don't have anything to add. Thanks for that. Another extensive report.
Am I telling you too much? Do you want to?
No, I think
Just the right. I think it's the right amount. If my board members agree, I just mean it's busy.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing what happens in 2 weeks.
Yes, that's well put.
What can get done and what you find out needs to get done in just 2 weeks. The whole picture changes.
Yeah.
Definitely not too long. Absolutely not.
No, and I think it's good. I mean, I don't know how many people actually watch these meetings, but I think it's good information to get out to the public of what you deal with in a 2-week period. You know, what comes across your table and what the DPW has to respond to. So I think it's good to document.
Yes.
All right. That is all we have on the agenda for this evening. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second, the motion to adjourn.
Okay. Thomas Mulsbury,
Yes.
Austin Sanders,
Yes.
David Beckman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And I will see you all on the 18th.
Yep.
Good night.
November 18th.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Stay safe.